Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or still maybe good morning, depending on what part of the country you're in. My name is Albert Clark, and I'm the creator of HomeActions. And we've invited you to a presentation today to sort of give you our feel on what's going out there with the virus, consumer perceptions, activities, things that you can do to ensure that you remain relevant in the eyes of your clients, prospects, and friends. And it all comes down to good content. I mean, we've been doing content and a content play, if you will, for about 19 years. I've been doing, for a total of 25 years, email marketing for agents right at the onset of the internet. So what you're going to see today is sort of a compilation of what I've been doing all these years and how we think we could position you or portray you as that homeowner advocate that consumers are looking for these days because, frankly, they're scared. We all know real estate is a numbers game. So with more relationships getting built, more relationships getting nurtured properly, we think we can improve the agent's numbers. And especially these days when consumers are really clamoring for, concise information on where the market is. So obviously we don't, the elephant in the room is disruption from the coronavirus. And what we're hearing is that some agents, anecdotally throughout the country are hearing from their clients, calling them and asking, saying, are you still in business? Because most consumers would find it hard to imagine how somebody can be a realtor and stay in business. The market's not that bad. I mean, it's terrible, but I'm hearing it's down 45%, but it's not near the 80 or 90% that the consumers are thinking. There's still deals going on. There's people that are wired, with all sorts of databases and a pipeline. So that's what we want to get you to look at is how you can portray yourself as a disseminator of good information in this time of need. So on this next slide, we're going to talk about a communications plan and being a conduit of information that is reliable, third-party and reliable information. We don't expect you to write any content. That's what we do. And you're going to be better prepared to jump on opportunities when the storm clears, because there's going to be 3% interest rates. There's going to be first-time home buyer tax credits. I'm already talking to my friends at NAR, and they've been on Capitol Hill this week trying to get those things certified. And because every time there's a housing crisis or every time there's a problem with the economy, homeownership seems to get a lot of attention. So you're going to have lots of opportunities to communicate with your clients, prospects, and friends on all these opportunities. But you've got to have a vehicle to do that. And for years and years, I guess you could say I was in the stay in touch business. We help agents get and remain top of mind with all of their clients, prospects, and friends. So one way we do that is through effective email marketing, but none of this is going to work whether you use HomeActions or you use some other email marketing company for your pipeline communications plan. You've got to start with a database. Now, I obviously fly all over the country and we sit in front of large agents, large crowds and small crowds, and I ask them, why can't you do the best possible job? And the first thing they admit not having is a clean, reliable database. So what we do for agents is we build them that database. We go into Gmail, the MLS, iCloud, Hotmail, iPhone backup, Top Producer, everywhere they have contacts, and clean them up and show you which ones are bad and take the bad ones out, take the duplicates out, and hand you a list that you can then scrub and put into the HomeActions system if you want to use HomeActions. So we have about 5,000 agents throughout the country on our platform. But we all know the concept of a pipeline. Well, what we're going to do is put all those contacts, we're going to nurture them, we're going to put them in a pipeline, and we're going to insulate them. But we're going to give you intelligence on what's going on inside of your pipeline. So our concept here is to nurture relationships and to provide you intelligence on what's going on inside of your database, because we're going to be able to protect your database, because email addresses that are put in our system become exclusive. Nobody else can attack your database with their HomeActions once you have it in yours. So these are just some of the places where we can go and export contacts. If we could, the rule of thumb is if we could see them, we can get them out, okay? So we could talk about that later on, but you can always add more contacts to your database, but this is how we build the initial database, by going into these locations and others, exporting and cleaning up. Again, what we're seeing here is when that pent up demand, the opportunities that you're going to have to educate your client base on what's out there. First-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance programs. We're going to have all that information for you so you could stay relevant in the eyes of your prospects. With interest rates, the low threes, we're going to be able to do some, I think, phenomenal rebounding in the economy. And I'm not saying that just to be, fluffy. But we know that, if people have to sell houses, they have to sell them, good times and bad. So the market's going to respond, I think, quite favorably. So we want you to serve as a resource. This is the idea here, that you're out here, you know what's going on, you're the professional, and you should be imparting that information on your clients. And how, not only what the news is, but how is it going to impact them? Is this going to impact, condos and starter homes? Is this going to impact multi-million-dollar properties? I don't have all those answers because I'm not a realtor in your town. You are, and we're going to try to portray you as that expert. So whether you're using, the latest technology, whether you're understanding what's going on with all these disruptors, our contention here is that now is the time to invest in technology or outsourcing, if you will. And, what's going to happen at the end of the day, again, is that you're going to be in front of your client base, because right now some of your client base might think that you're out of business. We went through that in the last couple slides. Here, what we're going to do is portray you as that expert and then deliver through email a comprehensive communications plan to let them know that you're the one that knows what's going on. So what agents needed yesterday, and this is a powerful line that we use in all of our sales, what agents needed yesterday, they need today and tomorrow, is going to be conversation starters. When articles get opened in the HomeActions newsletter, and we'll show you that in a couple slides, we're going to send this predictive radar, if you will, back to the agent to let them know who's been clicking on what content inside their database. And at the end of the day, we really just want you to have more conversation starters. And that's what agents need these days, to be able to pick up the phone or an email and fire off something that's, indicating there's a common denominator here. We don't talk about, here around HomeActions, we don't talk about hot leads. We talk about conversation starters. And again, that's what we're going to promise you, is the ability for you to pick up the phone and get a conversation going, because you know what your reader just opened, clicked, shared, downloaded, et cetera, et cetera. So on the left-hand side now, you'll see the top part of one of the newsletters. There's always 8 or 9 articles that we write every 2 weeks, and we ship these out, customize the graphics. We do all the work. This is literally can be a set it and forget it program. If Amy O'Connor doesn't want to add anything this week, listings just sold, open houses, she doesn't have to. Somebody's going to make her look good every 2 weeks. And that's why our content filters in if she doesn't want to add anything. So it starts out as a newsletter, but ends up as a conversation starter, because any articles that we put in here that she deems to be important or relevant, she wants to know when somebody's engaging them and who. That's what we do. We already went through this slide. Here's another example of an agent, and he's putting in, his every 2-week Corona, update, if you will. Hey, can I help? Simply being there as a resource is going to score some points for Steve. The next article, the coronavirus, get the updated information. We've got content left and right about the topic and how it's going to impact your readership. Here's another, what we call predictive article. Every 7 or 8 weeks, we throw this one in. 7 out of 10 homeowning families right now in your town have no idea how much equity they have. They know it's good, but they don't know how much. So if they don't know how much they can get out of this house, they might not be listing the other house. And studies show that they're not, as frequently listing houses because no one gave them this magic number. So as soon as somebody opens this article, we're going to send you a text or an email, and you'll be able to get back to this person with what? A conversation starter. Hey, Jim, I see you got my newsletter. Why don't we do a quick CMA for you, and we'll find out how much equity you have in your home. So we're going to give you some scripts that you can use to make this conversation building process go a lot easier. Here's another article that we put in, of course, optional, and there's no extra charge for anything. This is our most widely clicked article. Tell me what's sold down the street. I want to know what's going on in my town. And agents love doing this, and they know that I'm correct when I'm saying everybody wants to know what's sold down the street. So what the agent does is give us a bunch of zip codes, and when we click on them and put them in, up will come your RPR reports, okay? If you're using RPR or any other local source, we'll go in and we'll build these reports and put them right on your newsletter like we did for Tom here. Tom gave us about 15 different zip codes where he wants to be an expert. He clicks, the consumer clicks here, and then what opens up is exactly what they wanted. What's sold down the street from last night going back 3 months, okay? So we do all this handiwork for you, and every 2 weeks we'll refresh these reports. This is just another example. If you've seen RPR, you know it's very difficult to get it into the hands of people that can use it. So we are that great distribution network, if you will, or pipeline into the home with all this good information. So are we sponsoring you as an advocate or a salesperson? So when you're perceived by your consumers, obviously we want to be an advocate, somebody that's going to set us out, set apart differently from everybody else. So these are the topics that we cover and we write. My editors have their pulse on what's going on here. And what you won't see is chicken pot pie recipes, moving day tips, 10 things your home inspector won't tell you. No, no, no. This is all hard-hitting, impactful information that we deliver for you and that you could see in advance, because every 2 weeks when your newsletter goes out, you're going to get a 4-day notice. And that's when you could have us bring in a listing, a just sold, an open house, anything at all, we'll publish for you. And then, you know, we're going to be able to tell you who read what we published for you. So let's see. Hey, welcome ahead, Betty and Janine Coster. Thank you for coming in. At this point, if anybody's got any questions, I thought I was going to find my chat room here. Hold on a second. There we go. If anybody has any questions yet, can you type them in? We'll take a 20-second break here. Any questions? Bam. Okay, it looks like there's no questions yet. Okay, we can get them all down to the end. So let's get off this screen, close that one. Okay, another defining feature of ours, which you probably won't find in any other email marketing system, is email exclusivity. And what that means is when we build your database and put it in the system, all those email addresses become exclusive to you. That means no other agent in your office, no other agent in this country using HomeActions can get that email address in their system. Email addresses can only be put in once. And I think by the end of this presentation, you're going to hopefully agree that, yeah, you're right. You don't want your clients, prospects, and friends getting this from you, from Keller Williams, from Century 21, and everybody else. That doesn't happen in my program. Email exclusivity, top of mind awareness, exclusive relationship capital is what we call it. If you're into social media marketing, then we've got a whole library, there's a whole game plan here with over 1,200 articles on all aspects of home ownership and real estate. And what we're talking about here is good, quick content that you can take right to social, bring into your newsletter, loads of ways to use our library. We'll show you that. So agents need to focus on this segment of their database that we think is warming up. And how do we know who's warming up? Well, we're going to show you through our predictive metrics. And our predictive metrics are indicating who is researching, you know, in front of you now versus behind your back. Because if they're going to Zillow, if they're going to homes.com, whatever, their MLS, they're not getting this kind of information, or their board of realtors, I'm sorry, they're not getting the kind of information they can get by being in front of you. So we want your consumers searching in front of you. And throughout all of these widgets and everything else we're going to show you from here on, this all got done in front of you. And you know who is requesting what, when, why, how. So the first report we have you look at after a launch is the delivery statistics report. This indicates that for this agent, we sent out 1,336 emails. I think about 4.5 hours later when I pulled these stats, 615 unique opens. That means they opened it just once. But look at that number to the right here, 1,016. That's total opens. And that only can come from half of your readers will open your newsletter multiple times. And how do we accomplish that is, well, the only way you could accomplish it is if they stick your name, they save your name in their inbox. And as they go up and down their email 500 times a day like you and I do, there's going to be your name and your subject line will be stuck there. Impression, impression, impression. That's what we're all about. And when they finally open the second, third, fourth time, that's all tracked. You'll see all that. This is the second one we want you to look at. What content that HomeActions put in for you resonated well with your clients? Look at that second red arrow, the one in the middle there. 28 people wanted to know what's sold down the street, went in for how much. And when you click on the word who, we're going to tell you who. You should know some of them because they're in your database. So that's a conversation right there. Studies show that 40% of people that are clicking on that kind of data are early stage researching for a transaction, okay? And what I'm promising you is you're going to see all these stats all the time. On this next one, we're going to talk about lowering defection rates to Zillow. Now, what happens is when somebody hears a Zillow ad on TV or in the radio, you know, they're going to think, oh, okay, maybe I don't need a realtor. Maybe I can go to Zillow. Well, Zillow's telling everybody you don't need realtors anymore, right? Because we have everything realtors have. We're not going to charge you that big commission either. So what we're trying to do now is slow down the defection of somebody coming to your website, looking around a little bit, then jumping to Zillow and never coming back to your website. So these are all the reasons why people run to Zillow. This is what the industry tells us. So what we did was we went out and we found how to replicate all that information and put it into a widget that only you can distribute and you could show to whomever you want. So this is called the Neighborhood 360 widget. This empowers your readers with the ability to pull up any address of 150 million, M-I-L-L-I-O-N, 150 million email addresses. There aren't any more than that in the country. And do a deep data dive on the neighborhood that's surrounding all these properties they might be looking at. So they can research their house, grandma's house in Kansas City, your listings, whatever they want. We've got something for them. It's relevant and obviously hyper local. It's down to their street level. So what I'm going to do now is open up a report. Let's just say that this house, Cary, North Carolina, we were doing some promotions down there. So let me go and pull up one of these reports right now. Okay, so here's a report that I pulled up, 707 Water Hickory Drive in Cary, North Carolina. We're going to give, now what's significant here is, as soon as this report opens up, the agent gets an email and a text letting them know that so-and-so, Betty Wilson in their database pulled up 707 Water Hickory Drive and did a deep, exhaustive dive into the neighborhood. And they have to tell us why they want the report. And many times it's my house, I'm thinking about selling it. It's my house, it's a house I'm thinking about buying, investment property, whatever. We're just playing around. So you get this intelligence on what's going on inside of your database. So let's go through this report and you'll see why people spend 4.5 minutes in this report. And the only place they can get this report is from you, right? Because they're in your password protected system. Demographics on the area, a map of where the property is, building information, cost of living information, calculators all over the place to move from anywhere to this town, from this town to anywhere else, income levels in the neighborhood. Then we have tax information, rent versus own stats. The average tax bill about $3,700 there for property taxes. Then we have recent sales nearby. Remember I told you how everybody wants to know what's sold down the street? Well, we've got it here again. So these aren't comps. These are just all sales. Keller Williams, C21, you guys. Doesn't make a difference. And then after that, we have transportation. How's everybody getting to work? Where are the traffic jams? What time do most people have to leave to get to work on time? Then we have the school information, right, with some school report data. And then, the fact that we don't tell consumers where their children will go to school, we have them click these blue buttons here, and then they could find out where their daughter or son's going to go to school. Right? We don't want to get involved with that school selection stuff. And then this really cool section after this one is called the life section, where people are digging into neighborhoods and figuring out whether neighborhoods will be amenable to what they need. And if not, they go to look at a different listing maybe. So for this area and this report on this neighborhood, which goes about 3 miles in radius from that listing, we have places where we can go for happy hour. We have places we can dine and fine dining, places to shop, new stores that are coming in the area, places where we get donut shops, coffee shops, et cetera, and you'll notice everything has Yelp reviews, right? It's very important these days if you're going to recommend someplace or at least highlight someplace that you'll offer Yelp reviews, and of course we do. Then let's go after perks. We can find out where the gymnasiums are, where we're going to work out, then we're going to go get our fingernails done, our toenails, our tattoos removed. And then finally, everybody's got to be a pet-friendly realtor, right? So whether you like pets or not, you just can't say that you don't like them, right? Because half of your clients have pets. So the system knows where all the Petco stores are, where the dog walkers are, the veterinarian hospitals, et cetera. And you show an amazing amount of concern for pet lovers because you've got all this information. Now, look, this is all within 3 miles away of that house, so that they might like this neighborhood, right? But again, you know what they're looking at. You know where they got the information. You know exactly what they got because our system tells you. And that's a conversation. Hey, Jim, I see you did that report on our neighborhood report. Do you need any help interpreting the neighborhood? Are you looking for something else in the neighborhood? Again, great content that portrays you as an expert in what's going on in any location in the country. And again, nobody else, none of your readers of your newsletter will be able to see this stuff coming from another agent because you put them in first. So let me go back to the, I got a couple more slides on my PowerPoint here. We also have the Neighborhood Navigator Home Value Estimator, okay? This is another widget that's in the newsletter. This is simply, tell me what my house is worth, okay? Now, you may have a button like this, what's my home's value on your website, but you may not be getting anybody visiting your website. So you got a tool that's being underutilized. We could bring that tool, if you like it, right into your newsletter, or you could use our Home Value Estimator where we give the consumer a value range and then tell me why you want this information, and then you could follow up with a phone call or an email, right? It's probably one of the most predictive articles you can get. Tell me what my house is worth, okay? There's somebody, reaching out for you. So at the end of the day, we know what to send, we know when to send it, we know how to send it. Now remember, we're doing all this content. Content is a tool, and we're portraying you as that expert in good times and bad. Right now, maybe bad times. We're not an alarmist. We're not telling them the sky's falling, but we're telling them how this virus is impacting mortgage accessibility, and then overall, how's the market doing? And you have all these data points, and you're going to get a lot more with HomeActions. You just don't have a consistent way to get them into the homes of your clients, prospects, and friends. So that's what we are, a distribution vehicle, good content, third-party, verified, all sorts of hyper-local widgets, burned into a newsletter every 2 weeks, and you know exactly who got what, when, what they clicked on, what they read, what they downloaded, okay? So we know how to help you create these conversation starters because we, instead of hot leads, we're gonna tell you we're gonna give you conversation starters, and we're gonna get you up the home plate, but you gotta swing the bat. So we know how to lock in exclusive value also. Again, your consumers aren't going to get these reports from anybody else but you once you put them in. So you'll be proud to, have an ability now. Every email address you see, you'll have something to do with it because this is your pipeline. And if you leave the company you're with now, it doesn't make a difference. You take this with you. I mean, there's a company in Pittsburgh and Ohio called Howard Hanna. We have 500 of their agents using our program because 500 of them didn't have a database before we walked in their office that day and built them one. 9 out of 10 agents in that company didn't have a clean database. So now we have, if there's anybody on the call from Howard Hanna, please give me a call and I'll show you some specific things we can do with your new intranet and your new tools that you have in your Go Hanna. So what happens now is I've got 25 employees that do this for 5,000 agents. And I'd like you to become what we call a subscriber. There's 2 ways to subscribe to our program. One is the monthly plan, and the other is an annual or a quarterly plan. And I'll be emailing all of you a order form as soon as this call is over, in hopes that you'll call me back and figure out a way to do this, because this is what homeowners are needing these days in these troublesome times. They need assurance, they need communications, they need to know that somebody is giving them good information. So the monthly plan works like this. Normally there's a $99 setup fee, and that's a one-time fee for custom building your database, for creating the graphics, sending, hand-holding, reporting, everything. And then it's $62 for the first month, and then $62 for a month for as many months as you want. You can cancel at any time. Cancel in the first month, you get all your money back. Of course, you always get your database back because we don't own your database, you do. We just nurture it. So $50 setup fee and $62 comes out to $112 for today. And that'll take it to the end of the first month. And then it's $62 a month thereafter. The smarter money is on our quarterly plan. Now, if you do the math, this quarterly plan saves you about another $100. Instead of payments every month, we ask for one payment every 3 months, and that's 170 every 3 months. So that's 170, 170 is 340, 340 times 2 is 680. So you're saving more than $100 over the monthly plan. And this plan, you know, indicates you can move to any plan you want. So if you wanted to start with this plan and you said, hey, things aren't turning around in my business, I need some help, we're going to give you some free months of service, or we'll figure some way out to get you whole. Okay. So the monthly plan again is a $50 setup fee, not $99, and then $62 per month for as many months as you want. This other plan saves you more money. Of course, we're going to give you your money back in the first month if you cancel. Month 13, if you cancel, we just won't bill you anymore. Okay. Because those payments will come out every 3 months. You'll get notice when we're going to bill you. Okay, so there's no shock. And we think that's a fair price for delivering the kind of value that we do, the exclusive value that we deliver for agents. So let's have some, I'm going to send everybody an order form, and let's see if we can get some questions going here, either on my chat line with you guys or the, hold on here a second. Either on the chat line or my private, come on, where's it? I'm trying to see